Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, I will show you how you can use the NanoCustom tag to track custom events using the CDN, and we will implement it in DNN. So stick with me and I will show you how you can do this. So let's start by creating a new project. If you click here, we can give it a name, let's say Too Sexy, and a website URL. For this, I deployed a Too Sexy DNN site, which URL I can take and put it in here. I can now save the project and this will create it for me. So let's start by going into our new project. We can go to the custom events and select this option here. It now tells us to install the custom tag, but because we're using the CDN, we can skip this task and go straight to the next instruction. But for this, I want to create a new app. So back to my Too Sexy site, I will go into the apps management, to apps, and here I can say I want to create an app. I will give it a name, and I will say I want to use a completely new empty app. If I now click save, it will create the app for me, and I can use it here. With our new app, we now need to create a new view. So let's go into the app and into views. If we click this button here, we can create a new one. I will call it default. I can now select a template file. If you don't have one, you can just hit here to create a new file. We can specify that we don't need data for this view and hit save. This will create a view, and now we can place our app in our website. So if we scroll down to the bottom, we can say here in the toolbar that we want a new app module. Let's select the app for nanosites and wait till this is loaded. We can now see that this is our default view. If we place it, we can see the preview we got in our template. We can edit the template by going on this button, and then we can see what has been made. So the put your content here is the same as we have here. We can now replace this code with this one, and it just checks if the user is a content admin, we will see this div. And this div just is a normal div with an bootstrap class for alert primary, so we can see that if we refresh our page, that the module really is our nanosites app. If we visit this page as a incognito window, we won't see it because we're not a content admin. We can now start to implement the tag. So let's grab the tag and embed it in here, and also the import statement. But because we don't have npm, we can go to the documentation, the tags, the custom events, and the CDN usage. Here we will find the scripts for the CDN delivered content. If we save it and refresh the page, we should see in the DevTools that there will be a custom script loaded, and this is of course from JS delivery. The documentation tells us what we need to do. We have the import statement, which is the CDN script we use, and the embedded tag. Now we can use the onClick handler with the track function, which gets exposed by the nano events. So let's implement it, and for this I have installed the CTA. If we go here in the template editor as well, we can see the buttons are rendered down here. So let's go into the href element, and before the href, we can use the track function. Let's say this is a CTA. If we now save the app and reload the page, we would be able to see the event being tracked. So let's try this by inspecting the DevTools again and going to the Network tab. If you now press one of these buttons, let's say like this, we should see a custom event being fired. The last step now is just to refresh the page. And as we see, we will get one total event from our CTA. But we can go even further. So let's get back to the template editor and use a dynamic string. Let's say we use the button text, like so. And now if we save and refresh the page again, we can use either buttons and see which has been pressed by the dynamic text. So let's go and press the secondary and the primary again. If we now refresh the page, we should see 3 total events, one from the secondary and one from CTA primary. And this all happens dynamically. But that's not all. We can go still further. In the documentation, we can see that we can pass next to the event name a configuration like a JSON object. So for instance, we can pass in a label, a value, or a category. I want to add now some new JSON. So let's go into the track function again and paste this here. What this does is just adding a new parameter, and this is the JSON. So I want to track a link for the button link and the source, that would be the button target. If you now refresh this page, so we get the latest changes, we can then click on the primary and the secondary again. So let's do this to fire the events. And if we go back to our dashboard, we can now see that when we go into the event, we get the data here for a link to the slash and the source blank. If you go to the CTA primary, we can see that this data has been tracked as well. And that's already it. We just had to embed the tag and use the CDN to provide the script. Now we can use the track function on every page we place our new app. But you will also be able to use the official NanoSites app for 2Sexy, which will be released soon. So stick around, and I will see you in the next video.